Hi, my name is Manpreet Singh and welcome to my YouTube channel. This channel focuses on real estate and mortgage insights. This channel aims to empower viewers with the knowledge to make informed decisions in the real estate market. Please subscribe to stay informed about the Canadian real estate market. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I have a special guest with me, Sehr Mahmood. Sehr, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to start off with a few questions and we'll take the conversation from there.
Sure.
So my first question to all my guests is, how long have you been in the business of real estate and what exactly inspired you to join real estate?
So I've been in the business for 13 years now.
Amazing.
Since 2012 is when I got my license. I got into real estate by accident, to be completely honest. So I graduated in the middle of the financial crisis in 2008 from York University and nobody was hiring. So I had an MBA in finance and I didn't know what I wanted to do next because I couldn't get a job. Nobody was hiring. So, I kind of dwindled for a few years and I was super lost. And then I met a friend of mine who was doing well in real estate and he said, you know what? I don't know what your skills are, but why don't you get a real estate license like everybody else? And I was like, the barrier to entry at that time was very low. It didn't cost much to get into it. I was already $80,000 in debt from getting my MBA. And I was like, I can't spend that much money.
Right.
I was like, I have to make this work. It wasn't that at that time I was passionate about real estate. I didn't even really know what I was getting into, but I knew that I wanted to be successful.
Right.
But I knew that to be successful, it has to come from within me and I just have to work hard. And at that moment, I said, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to make sure that I make this a success.
Right. And when you started in your first year or the initial period of time, did you face any challenges?
Oh my God, every single challenge that you can imagine. So I'm getting into real estate and I'm coming here as an immigrant. I grew up in Pakistan.
Okay.
I didn't even come to Canada with family. I came for school and I just ended up staying. So I didn't have a network of high school friends or a community or parents, friends who can give you business or anything. I was literally like this lone ranger who's here by themselves. So I got to my office, Royal LePage Signature, still where I am now. And I sat down with my broker and I said, you know what? I was like driving here and I see 7 signs of, agents all saying they're number one. How do I become number one?
Right.
He's like, well, do you have a network? I said, no, not really. I just moved here recently and I don't even have my passport yet. I just literally, got to Canada.
Right.
And then he said, well, do you have money to advertise? I was like, nope, I'm about $80,000 in debt. Nope. Like, do you have family who can refer you friends and business? I said, nope. He said, well, you have to go out there and meet 5 new people every single day.
Wow.
And I'm thinking to myself, I have no database. How do I meet 5 new people every single day?
Right.
So I thought that the best course of action at that time was to start advertising on 2 super glamorous websites called Kijiji and Craigslist.
Okay.
I literally went on those sites every single day and I put up other ads for other people's listings because I had none of my own. And next thing you know, it was a hot rental market. I was meeting up to 20 people a day.
Wow.
So I grew my network really fast. By the end of the year, I had over 3,000 names and numbers of people who were interested in real estate. So what that year taught me was a lot. I learned how to deal with people. I got to know every single building in downtown Toronto because that was where I was focusing on.
Right.
I did 120 rentals my first year.
Wow.
And that was my entry to real estate. But more than that, I built that massive network. And that's what really got me rolling.
Right.
From there, I was like, I thought, okay, this is going to be my career. I'm doing great as a rental agent. I'm making $100,000 a year. To me, I was like rolling in the dough because I was coming from making nothing,
Yeah.
And little did I know that the opportunity in real estate was so much more. So one day while I was putting those ads on Kijiji, I'm noticing it was Liberty Village, it was a building in Liberty. And I was like, the same agent has 8 listings in the same building. How is that even possible that he knows 8 landlords in the same building? So I called him up. I said, I want to know how you have so many listings in the same building. And he said, it's because I sell pre-construction.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know what that means, but that's what I want to do. So he kind of quickly gave me the gist of how it works. And he says, I have a new project coming next weekend. Do you have people that would be interested? And I was like, I don't really have anybody, but I'm going to find some. And what I did was I went back to that rental database of 3,000 people and I found 7 buyers my first weekend in pre-construction sales. So the deal that I'd made with him was that he would get me access. He would close all my deals because I didn't know how pre-construction works at all.
Right,
So he
right.
said, we'll do 50-50. I'll do your appointments for you. All you have to do is bring the buyers
Bring
there.
the buyers,
and
yeah.
I thought that's a great deal because I think the problem is a lot of agents, they don't want to give up their commission.
Right.
But 100% of zero is zero. So for me, 50% of deals was great. So I
Right.
brought all my buyers there. He closed all those deals. And we continued that for about 2 weeks. And I quickly learned the business myself. And I said, you know what? That was the day that I decided that I'm going to be the best pre-construction agent out there or as close to it as I can get. And that's how my journey into pre-construction started.
Amazing, amazing. And then when you started selling pre-con as your primary way of selling real estate, then what was the next few years looking like? How did you build your team and where you are right now in the business? I mean, you are quite successful in the pre-con sector of real estate, but how were the years following that getting into the pre-con?
So my first year where I did the 120 rentals was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. It taught me discipline. It taught me work ethic. It taught me time management. To do 120 deals, I was meeting, like I told you, 20 people a day.
Yeah.
But I wasn't taking out 20 people separately. I was doing open houses on other people's rental listings. And I put an ad for 5 to 6 p.m. and 7 to 8 p.m. So I was only going to 2 units a day and everybody would come to me. So I learned how to scale the rental business really fast. And I said, you know what? From this, I'm going to go straight into doing the same exact thing with pre-construction. And that's what I did. So my second year, I didn't have a team. I was doing it all myself. I did 100 deals in pre-construction my second year.
Amazing.
200 deals the year after that. And I was able to, for the next few years, do 200 transactions a year all by myself. Once it was 2017, the market started to get super hot at that time. I was like, you know what? There's a lot more business that can be had. I need to start adding on some team members.
Right.
And then in 2018, I added my first team member. It was just me and one other gentleman. And then 2019 is when I started to hire a few more. And my team is still very small. We're 6 agents at this time.
Amazing.
So it's never been a big team, but we've been able to do some serious damage
I'm sure
in the
it's
industry.
easier to manage when you have a smaller number of agents working with you,
I'd rather have few agents and we all do like high volume of sales. And
That's true.
having
That's true.
people who are very driven be part of my team is more important to me than just having numbers. And that's how I kind of conducted my business. But for the first 5 years, I was a solo agent doing all my transactions by myself.
Right. Now let's come back to the current pre-con market. Pre-con is, from what I'm seeing right now, is not in a very good shape as what it was maybe a couple of years ago. So how do you see the pre-con market in the next few years? And then also, if there is a realtor that's looking to still get into pre-con and make quite a bit of money, what's your suggestion to them?
So it's obviously no secret that the pre-con market has been disastrous in 2024. We ended the year with only 4,591 sales, which is actually 78% below the 10-year average of 20,835 sales.
Wow.
So it's been like literally a 78% drop. It's been the lowest number of sales since 1996, since 28 years. So it's not been good for the pre-construction market. We also have 24,277 unsold units by the end of 2024 that were unsold. This is 50% more than the 10-year average of 16,000. So because of that oversupply, obviously, like it's been very, very difficult in the pre-construction market. And I think the other challenge is that obviously with the rise in interest rates, with people's closings, they were having a lot of trouble. A lot of our business came from repeat purchasers. So investors are buying not just one unit. I have many, many clients who bought 5, 6, 7, 8 units. I actually have one client who's bought over 50 units with me.
Wow.
So when those people's closings are coming up, they're kind of getting burnt.
At one time or with a period of time?
Over the years.
Over the years.
It's people who are doing 7, 8 transactions a year with us.
Right.
So very, very high volume. So now the other challenge is that 2024, along with the interest rates being super high, the level of inventory coming to the market was also very high. So we had 29,800 units come to completion. And, the demand was just not there. And now 2025, I see it being just as slow because we have 30,000 units coming to market this year. This inventory is going to take time to get absorbed into.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the record number of completions in a very, very slow market.
That's true.
However, the challenge is going to come in the years to come. Okay, so right now it's going to be slow. Next year it's going to be slow. In 2026, we have 20,000 completions. In 2027, we have 18,000 completions. Just to give you an idea, 18,000 units a year completed is the 10-year average. So that's normal.
Okay.
So now 2028 is when I think that we're going to start seeing the pre-construction market really take a turn in the right direction, because we only have 9,000 units coming to market then. And then in 2029, we have 3,000 units coming to market. So keep in mind, 18 to 20,000 is normal. So when you have that undersupply a few years from now, that's when the market's really going to have that imbalance between supply and demand. So investors really just have to get through these few years where it's going to be tough, because the good times are coming. When you see inventory fall to those really low levels, that's when prices are going to start going back up, and there's going to be that increased demand. So construction starts dropped by 59% last year. There was only 33 launches. In a normal year, we have 80 to 90 launches.
Wow.
So the fact that we only had 33 launches because things just weren't selling, this is not going to hurt us tomorrow. This is not going to hurt us next year. It's going to hurt us in 2028, 2029, 2030. So I actually think that right now is a great time for someone to purchase, because, if they buy something pre-construction now that's going to close 4 or 5 years from now, that's where they can really reap that benefit of that investment.
That's true. So I'm understanding that the next 3-4 years are not going to be very busy for pre-con.
I'm hoping that it's not that long, but that's what I gear my investors towards. Like, I think 2028 is going to start becoming a really good year, to be realistic. Just because we have to get through this absorption of inventory that's going to be coming to the market last year, this year, and next year.
Right. And if there is, as I was asking before, if there is a realtor that's still looking to make money in pre-con, do you have any suggestion for them? Is it still possible to achieve a good number of units that they can sell within 2025 or maybe 2026?
So I actually think it's a great time to even try and getting into the door, because in a hot market, a normal resale agent finds it very tough to get inventory.
Right.
This is actually a great time because all the doors are open by all the builders to everybody. You can walk in there and they'll happily service your client and give you units.
Right.
The builders now have actually dropped their prices, and the incentives that we're seeing now are the best that we've ever seen. In a hot market, your client wants a 1-bedroom facing south. They'll say, I'm sorry, but I have a 3-bedroom on the 4th floor facing the garbage chute.
Lack
You
of
want it,
options.
yes or no? There's lack of options, and it's like you have 5 minutes to decide. Now you have the whole list of units available. So if you can find some good deals for your clients, because builders are willing to negotiate and they're having great incentive programs. We're selling a project by Madame where it's a monthly program of $1,400 a month. So we've had great success with that over the last week. And if you find deals like that for your clients, there's still an opportunity to sell pre-construction. If you can educate them that what's happening now is not going to be there forever, and the market is going to change. So I think that's where you have to be able to portray that information and give them that insight and educate them a little bit more than just the headline that they're seeing that it's all like doom and gloom in the Toronto real estate market.
That's true.
And that's where the opportunity lies. But being able to seek out those opportunities and working with builders to get those great incentives. We're getting rental guarantee right now of like $6 a square foot, $7 a square foot. You're getting cashbacks on closings. You're getting monthly deposit program. These are things I never saw in my career until now.
Wow.
So it's a really good time for someone who's in resale to say, hey, you know what? Like, I don't have somebody who can qualify for a mortgage tomorrow. They need to still build their credit history, or they still need to come up with, a down payment, but maybe they have $1,000 or $2,000 a month, and they can get into this program and then close the unit in 3 years from now. So it really allows that flexibility. And that's what I did when I first started real estate with my tenants. I was educating them that if you get into pre-construction, you can make your deposit slowly. It gives you 3 to 5 years to close.
Right.
And that's when you build up. And that's how I did sales in the beginning when I had no clients in pre-construction.
That's the best thing I like about pre-con is the flexibility of the down payment.
Yeah.
Versus the resale is you need all your money from the down payment upfront, whereas in pre-con you can pay that money in a deposit structure. So that might be 2 years, 3 years, and then you don't need all the money upfront. So that's a very good option when it comes to securing a pre-con. Now let's come back to networking. What my understanding is, to be successful in the business of real estate, it's very important to have a solid network. So how important do you think, in your opinion or in your career, that you've seen that networking played an important role? And at the same time, when it comes to specifically selling pre-con, how important it is right now to have a very strong relationship with the builders?
I think right now is the perfect opportunity to start getting to know the builders. Like I said, the sales offices are welcoming agents to come in and, to educate them about their sites. And, if you can just go in there, shoot a simple video. Everybody has an iPhone now.
Yeah.
Go to the project, learn about it, stand with a sales rep and just interview them, post on your social media, start portraying yourself as an expert in a new field. And I think that that's something that people should take opportunity of right now. And it's a very easy time to be able to get to know all the builders. I would suggest doing what I did, which was basically when I started pre-construction, because there were so many launches happening, it's very hard to keep track. I focused on one area, which was Yonge and Eglinton, and every project I sold in those first 6 months was just in that neighborhood. So I got to know that neighborhood really well, and I started to work with 3 different builders. So I wasn't trying to work with 25 builders. I was zoning in and being super focused, because nobody cares if you come in and sell 1 to 2 units. But you sell 5 units, 6 units, 10 units, people's ears perk up. And other builders will be like, who's this new agent who went and sold 10 units for my competitor? Let me call them and see what's going on. That's exactly what happened to me when I first started. I was selling for one builder and the other one found out that I did 27 sales in that site and said, who are you and can you come meet us? So focus on one builder, pick a site that you really like and just zone in on that. And that's the way to be successful. Don't try and do one deal here, one deal there, learn this area, learn that area. Pick a niche, stick to it.
No, I completely agree. You touched a little bit about posting videos and social media. I've seen your social media, and you also have a YouTube channel where I think the first video I saw must have been you posted 7, 8 years ago. And that was very similar, where you are explaining the new project, most likely within the builder space. And that definitely helps the viewers or the clients to understand that this person is really serious about the project, and they have a very good understanding and the knowledge. So they are not a rookie realtor who just want to sell and they don't understand what are the pros and cons of investing in this project. Now let's come back to mentorship. And I just want to go back to your initial days. And I'm trying to understand that how important do you think mentorship is in the career of a real estate agent?
I think mentorship is super important. So when I started my real estate career, I didn't have a mentor, but I did have that one agent who helped me in the beginning to do some of my appointments who I learned from. But for a new agent, I think it's great if you can join a top team and have like a mentor there who's, somebody that you aspire to be close to and somebody that you think you can learn from. So pick the niche that you want to get into, whether it's commercial, residential, pre-construction, and join a team and learn from them. Because being around that energy of someone who's able to do such high production is invaluable. You know, you can't learn that on your own in the same amount of time as you would. I know people who come onto my team in 6 months, they know more than they would on their own in 5 years. So while I didn't have a mentor myself, I would highly encourage now, join a team if you're brand new and just take that step. Also, you have access to so much information on the internet now, right? So when I started, there was no Instagram at that time. There was no TikTok and all this stuff. Now everybody's posting videos on there. So you can get a lot of leadership advice, mentorship advice, career advice just by watching other people's channels. People are learning so much from watching you, and you're bringing on all these top agents, right? So there's a lot that you can learn even if you're not part of a team and you do want to be a solo agent.
That's true.
But just invest the time to listen to podcasts, listen to shows, see what the top agents are doing, follow them on social media. How are they marketing? What are they saying? And just replicate.
And the amazing part about your content on social media is you're very open about your strategies.
Right.
So that's what I really loved about it, is that it's very easy to, if somebody is really willing to learn how you got your success as pre-con, they just got to go on YouTube probably, and even on Google, just search your name. And a lot of your videos are explaining in depth that what are the strategies you used, and they can benefit from it, right?
Right.
Now let's come back to the current real estate market. With the current interest rate drops and the new changes in the insured mortgages, the cap rate change from 1 million to 1.5. How are you seeing the overall market for the next few years?
Right. So when we look at the 2024 market, prices overall were down about 0.8%. So, which is not terrible considering everything that happened with interest rates and so forth. But now, like Urbanation, I was just reading their latest report, they're actually expecting the prices to go up by 5% approximately overall across all housing types, 7% within detached, but overall 5% amongst all housing types in 2025. And there's a lot of reasons for this. So one of them is exactly what you said, is like that change in the mortgage rules is now going to allow the buyers to go from having to put, it was 300,000 if they wanted to do a mortgage on, 1.5, and now it's 125,000 because they're doing 500, they're doing 5% on the first 500 and 10% after. So it's really allowing a lot more first-time buyers to come into the market. And when you take the amortization from 25 to 30 years on an interest rate of 4.5%, on a $1 million mortgage, you're saving $500 a month.
That's pretty much you're saving your property taxes.
Yeah. So it's really going to allow that ability for those first-time buyers who are sitting on the sidelines to be able to jump in. Because, when you're tapped out at 1 million, a lot of the houses you're looking for are, the average selling price last year was 1.1. So if you're looking now at like 1.1, 1.2, you can get exactly what you're looking for. Okay, you're no longer like stuck under that cap of I need to be at 999,000. And the amortization is going to help. So I think that's going to be a big effect on why they're forecasting this year to be a lot stronger and prices to actually go up this year versus down. So it's really going to help. Right.
We are also hoping the same, that 2025 and 2026 will see a lot more activity than 2024. 2024, when I speak to different realtors, for some it was good. They still did a decent number. But then for some, it was really slow.
Yeah. I think we also have to look at what's happening with immigration. Okay. So even though they've decided to cut it down from 500,000 people a year to 395,000, that's still a lot of people. We're going to have 3.1 million people coming into the GTA by 2046. And we're still not building fast enough. So with those immigration numbers, we actually need 45,000 to 50,000 homes a year to be able to keep up with the demand. So even last year, which was a record number of 29,000, this year's a record number of 30,000, we're still underneath what we're looking for. So when you look forward, like I was saying, to 2028, 2029, where the supply is dropping to 9,000 units and then 3,000 units, it's very scary because the immigration is still coming in. And we need these people. Listen, we have 700 trades that are retiring by 2028. So we need population to come in and take over all these jobs.
Right. And also my understanding is that in the years before, and most likely the years when you started the business, the average purchase price was a lot different than what it is right now. Right. So for the new immigrant to come in and save for the down payment, it would have been a lot more easier, right? Because in that period of time, they would have, let's say, needed 50K. Right, to start off with the house they want to purchase. For the same house, they probably need right now 100K, right? So,
which is still better than the 300K that they would have needed before the CMHC rule. So it's still a good opportunity for them to be able to save.
So my point of saying is there's a lot of immigrants that are already in the country, but they might not be ready yet. So they will be ready very soon, and they will jump into the market. And
then the people who can afford, like, listen, last year rents went down 5%. Everybody knows that. But like you're saying, for these people who are still coming in, like rents are going to get better, So this is the year when I think that we can see some optimism come into the market.
Right, 100%. And then in terms of tenants, first-time home buyers, you touched a very important point, that how you converted the tenants to invest in the pre-con in your initial days. And that makes complete sense. I mean, you don't have to have all the down payment upfront, so you can save that money and pay that in a deposit structure. Most of the builder files that we do, we see a deposit structure of only $5,000 or $10,000 of payment in maybe like 3 months, right? So that's a very common structure structure, it's not a lot of money that you need upfront. So that's a very good point for the tenants.
Yes, and the problem is that most resale agents don't want to educate themselves about pre-construction, and they don't know about the opportunity that's available for their clients. So I think it's really important for them to like expand their horizon as to how can I get my buyers in this market to be able to purchase into something. So educating yourself is really important because there are opportunities like that lie, but resale agents, a lot of them just don't even know because they're not involved in pre-con, and they say, oh, pre-construction, no, we don't know what that is. We don't want to be involved.
I mean, if you don't need a quick closing, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Of course, in a good market, you're also going to build equity, even without putting all your money up front. So it's a very good option for the first-time home buyers. And another thing I tell them is that for how long do you want to be a tenant? If your long-term goal is to live in this country, for maybe like it's a short-term solution, because a feeling of living in a home as a tenant and as a landlord, as a homeowner, is a very different feeling, right?
Right.
So it's a no-brainer. I mean, especially in the initial years when you must have started.
And we're also seeing some changes in government policy. So, for example, Vaughan now doesn't have development charges in their sites. They've lowered them a lot. So, like, hopefully that, help with pricing a little bit and get more builders to want to like go into the area and start construction, because construction starts are very low right now. Right.
I was speaking to another real estate agent. He's been in the business since 2010, very big on pre-con. He told me that in 2010, 2011, pre-con was not very popular.
No.
Was it still the case when you started, or was still a new thing where people were investing in pre-con?
So when I started, it was before so 2016 was when pre-con got super hot. When I started, it was still pretty slow. I had no frame of reference of what's slow and what's hot. So I just got into it and I said, you know what, I did 100 rentals last year, I want to do 100 sales. And that's the mindset. Sometimes like ignorance is bliss, I didn't know that whether it's a hot market or not a hot market. I just wasn't educated enough. I just knew I want to be successful. There are people out there doing hundreds of deals. How can I be one of them? And I think mindset is so important with that, because if you get roped into the conversations of, oh my God, the market's terrible and nobody's buying, and you start getting invested in all these trends that, oh, market's down 50%, revenue is only 25% of what it was before, then you're going to get stuck in that mindset. How can you get past that and say, what's that little niche that I can create for myself in this market right now? There was still 67,000 transactions last year. Somebody's selling. So why do you want to be that person who says, I'm the one not selling? Be the person who says, I want a piece of the sales that were happening, because somebody's selling them.
That's true. And now let's come back to where you are right now in your career and in your life. Is you have seen quite a bit of success. So this is a question I ask to everyone that I see is successful in their business, is when we are working initially, we want to work as hard. We are hustlers, right? But when you reach a certain amount of success, you kind of fall into the comfort zone. And then in your situation, what is the motivator? What is the igniter that keeps you going?
I think that success is such a different word for everybody. Okay, there's some people that you're going to meet and they're going to look at me and they'll be like, oh my God, this girl does 300 to 400 deals a year. Like that's the level of success. There's going to be agents out there who do double of that and they're going to be like, I don't want to be Sahir. So success is very relative. Sure. I'm very blessed in my life for where I've reached, and I'm very grateful. But I do think that I have the capacity to do a lot more, and I have a lot more that I want to achieve in my life. So for me, I'm still very motivated to keep going. But more than just the income, I'm able to now give back to the community so much. So I don't know if you follow my social media, but like I do charity events in Mexico for animals and communities every single year. I've done 3 in the last 3 years in a row. I helped 144 dogs and cats get spayed and neutered. And that it would not be possible for me to do if I didn't have the real estate success, because all of that costs time and money. So those things only come with that. So, as I grow older and I go forward, it's like, how can I keep giving back to the community even more? And that's my real motivator, like starting an animal charity that's even bigger than what I've already been doing and giving back to the community. And for that, I don't think I've reached the pinnacle of my success. I think I still have a way to go, and that really keeps me motivated. Amazing. The other thing is I love telling my story. I speak at a lot of like panel events right now. I'm a guest on a lot of podcasts such as this. So I love telling my story and just inspiring others. If I didn't have that success, I wouldn't be invited to any of these speaking events.
That's true. That's
so
true.
I really want to like help give back and motivate other people, and that keeps me going.
I think it's very important to give back to the community, and it really helps, and it shows what kind of person you are. So you mentioned you're helping animals in Mexico. So at what point of time you realize you want to do something for cats and dogs?
So I was actually volunteering at the Etobicoke Humane Society since 2016.
Okay.
So it's been a long time. So since I was in pre-construction, every single Friday I was volunteering there, and I was cleaning kennels, feeding the animals, and doing like a 3 to 4 hour shift.
Wow.
In COVID, that shut down, and I said, now what can I do? Because the shelter was physically closed, and I felt like something was stripped away from my life, because that was such a meaningful part of my week. Like with all the real estate stresses that we have, like it was my kind of getaway space where I could just zen out and relax with dogs and cats who don't speak to you. And I loved it. So from there, I started seeing that in Mexico and overseas, places where they still needed help and they were open. So I started bringing animals back from there, adopting them out here. And then now I, saw the fact that there's 18 million homeless dogs and cats in Mexico. So I said, how can we help them past me just bringing a few back a year to find them homes? Because that's not enough.
Right.
So the best way was spay and neuter clinics. So now I go to the villages every single year. I organize it from scratch. I rent the space. I get the doctors. I organize the medication, all the supplies, all the volunteers. It's literally like more work than launching a pre-construction project. It takes me about 6 weeks every single year to organize this.
I can imagine.
Then advertising in the community for people to come there for free. And that's my Christmas gift back, And I hope to just make that bigger every single year.
Right.
So important to align your personality with your purpose. So everybody, has different things that they're passionate about, but find that passion, and how can you take your career and mold it towards your passion.
Right. No, I'm hoping that it grows in the next few years, and you can help a lot more animals that need the help. So that's an amazing effort that you are making.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for your time and this opportunity. I learned a lot from you, and I'm pretty sure the viewers will gain a lot of value from this conversation.
Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you.